Hello, my name is Ronald Boutel, and I am the founder of Krishna Disaster Relief. And in this video, maybe called Part A, there might be Part B, Part C, we'll see. I wanted to tell you a little bit about myself, where I come from. I'm 79 years old, so I can remember when gas was 21 cents a gallon. Every day it was 25 cents a gallon. I can remember eating ice cream cones for a double, 2 scoops for 4 cents. It was a sale at a drugstore in Riverside, California. I can remember that. So, I was the kind of kid that, I wouldn't even drink a Dr. Pepper. I didn't like doctors and I didn't like pepper. Now here I am in Texas, and I kind of like food that's got some jalapenos in it. And, anyhow, my life really started out in Alaska. I have a few earlier memories, but my dad, he was a pilot in the Air Force, and he was stationed in Alaska. I know that I was 5 years old there because my dad gave me a BB gun for my birthday. He'd keep it in his bedroom. One day, I don't know where he was, probably golfing. He loved to golf. Not sure where my mother was, but I went into the bedroom. I had my little friend with me, a little neighbor boy, and went and got my BB gun. I mean, it was my BB gun, right? Birthday present. But he kept it in there safe. And he would lecture. He was very forceful about letting me know never to point the gun at anybody, the rifle, because he said that if you could shoot somebody's eye. So took my little friend across the street. Now this is Alaska where we were living. It's very rugged, raw. There were bear and moose just walking through your backyard. It was yeah. So I told my little friend, let's go and we'll shoot my BB gun in the back. And man, right away I spotted the greatest target imaginable. It was a great big tall telephone pole. So I stood, I'm gonna guess I stood 30 feet from it. I made sure my little friend was right next to me. Everything was safe. So to this day I can remember when I pulled the trigger. I can to this day remember, I can see that BB, because BBs are copper, and the sun, I saw the BB go and hit the pole and make sure my friend was safe. And then the most amazing thing happened. Now I'm only 5 years old. I never even heard of the word coincident. But what happened? After what happened, I knew. I didn't know the word, but I knew what a coincidence was. Because what happened is that BB hit the telephone pole and then bounced back and hit that little boy right below the eye. So it didn't hit his eye, thank God, but I had just been thinking about his not wanting to have the BB hit his eye, and yet on the very first shot, that's what happened. That was a coincidence. And I would have to say, if you want to know anything about me, something that has flavored my life, it's been a remarkable series of coincidences. I would love to hear from you. I imagine, I don't know if this is rare, or I know that people have coincidences, but I mean, I have had so many of them. They're like, and then one day I was, you know how they have these churches and they will put a sign out and they have a cute little saying on the sign. And one day I was looking at a sign and it said, "A coincidence is God's way of remaining anonymous." And I like that. It was like, yeah, a coincidence is God's way of remaining anonymous. I really like that. And it's meant so much to me in my life. Yeah. I think if I were to really delve into this video to help you get to know me, I mean, I could, talk here for 24 hours. I mean, how does one put 79 years into a short video? I'm supposed to be making 10-minute videos here. I'm already gone through 7 minutes. But I've had some amazing coincidences. I want to tell you about 2 of them. The most recent one was about 11 o'clock at night here in Texas. Now my daughter was living in Long Island. So it was even later there, after midnight. But anyhow, I like to watch YouTube videos, and one that evening, YouTube does often suggest videos for us to watch. And I guess it is a fact. I love to cook. I used to be the head cook in Chicago at a large temple. I was the head cook. I liked to cook. And that was many years ago. Maybe 30 years in the past. But I do like to cook, and maybe I had looked at some cooking videos, but so YouTube suggested this video, and the video said how to make the world's oldest bread. The oldest bread recipe known to man, and how to make it. Well, that's interesting. So I watched this video, and so when I got done watching it, I wanted to forward it to my daughter because she likes to cook, and I knew she'd get it the next day, and she graduated from the famous Cordon Bleu cook school. So yeah, she likes to cook. When she was a little 4-year-old girl, I would have her smell spices like cinnamon, and I'd say, "Well, what is this spice?" And and maybe coriander. What is this spice? And cumin. What is this spice? And so, but anyhow, I sent her that video, and believe it or not, within 4 minutes, my phone goes ding, and she replied. I mean, it's well after midnight, and she said, she starts telling. See, the recipe was how to make bread without yeast, without modern yeast. How that was what the idea of this video was, the idea behind this recipe. And she says, "Oh, Dad, I just realized I realized that we have company coming over in the morning for breakfast, and I always make fresh bread, but then I realized I didn't have any yeast." And then she remembered she had this a recipe on how to make she said it was an old recipe, this ancient recipe she had on how to make a bread without yeast. In fact, she's not only said those words, but then she showed me a picture. She took a picture with her phone of that loaf of bread coming out of the oven. Wow, you talk about a coincidence. I mean, the coincidences that I have are rather strange. I mean, they are. All right, so let's go back in time further. Back in 1976. I think it would been the spring of 76, or early summer. So I owned a bicycle shop, Adirondack Wheel Works, and across that was like the back alley, but in front of everything was one of the main streets in Saratoga Springs, New York, and right across the street was Friendly's ice cream store. And so, I had been fasting, and I had been running, and I had been doing this for a couple of months. So I was in the greatest shape imaginable. But this one particular night, I decided I'd like to eat some ice cream. I mean, like I said, I was fasting. I wouldn't eat any. I ate between noon and 6, and basically my meal was a big salad. I wasn't eating no sugar, no desserts. I was doing really good. I mean, I was in shape. Now I want to go eat some ice cream, and man, I love ice cream. It had to be God's will. You'll see what I mean. So, and it's Sunday evening, so I ate 3 double dip ice cream cones, 3. And this is after not eating any sugar for 3 or 4 months, and I was on a roll. So I wanted another one, but they close early on Sunday evening. And I mean, this really devastated me. But then all of a sudden, I realized I didn't want another ice cream cone. I wanted chocolate chip cookies. Yeah. Now in New York, at the time, they had a little box. It was a blue and white box of chocolate chip cookies. Not fancy, not Pepper Ridge. Just they were 99 cents, and they were good for 99 cents. But the thing is, everything's closed. It's not like today you have 7-Eleven that's open 24/7. So many convenience stores, grocery stores. But back then, in fact, in Saratoga Springs at the time, I think it was like that year or just in around that time, the first 24/7 grocery store was open, called Price Choppers. And I could go to Price Choppers and get these blue and white cookies, the blue and white box of cookies. But Price Chopper really wasn't right where I was. I would have to walk, and I didn't feel like walking. I didn't have a car. I didn't feel like getting one of my bikes. I could have done that. I didn't want to do that. But I wanted those cookies, and I became so frustrated. So I started walking, it would be south. I never walked south. I never walked in that direction. I lived in Saratoga Springs, New York. I never walked that way. This would be kind of towards where the Performing Arts Center is. So I get about halfway to the end of the block where there's a traffic light. And I just stopped in my tracks. I just stopped. I closed my eyes. And I merged with the desire for those chocolate chip cookies. I mean, it was amazing. It's like a near-death experience. Out-of-body experience or something. I mean, I became one with that desire. But I didn't linger there, too awful long. I don't think more than 30 seconds. I continued to the end of the street. Now it's getting dark, you see, and there was another store, but they were closed. So all I had was the most demanding frustration, demanding those cookies, but knowing that I wasn't going to get them. So then I crossed the street, and there was a gas station. The gas station is also closed. And like I said, it's getting dark. Can't see too well. All the stores or businesses have their lights off. And so I wanted to go walk through the pumps, where the pumps are, instead of like walking around. There's no need to walk around because there was nobody there. I could just cut through where the pumps were. And this is what I did. But then I noticed on the ground, something on the ground. And I'm thinking, wow, maybe there's some money. Because I had a friend that found a bag of money. So I'm thinking that, one of these cars, earlier when the gas station was open, this, whatever it is, too dark to tell, but something that must have fallen out of the car. This is the way I'm thinking. So I kind of like walk over to it and I kind of nudge it with my toe. And it felt like, yeah, there's something there. I think it was a paper bag. Not a gigantic paper bag, a small paper bag. And I'm thinking, there is something in there. So then I bent over, and sure enough, when I grabbed it, it had some weight to it. This thing must be full of $100 bills. Now, it was not a paper bag. It was a box. That's what it was. It was an upside down box. And so I picked it up, turned it over and kind of into the light where I could see, and it was a brand spanking new box, blue and white box of those 99-cent chocolate chip cookies. And you talk about freaking out. I remember I ran because I was living in my bicycle shop, and it was a couple blocks away, and I ran down because it was down a back alley. I ran down that back alley and I slid home base. I slid up against the big garage doors. And I sat there and I ate those cookies, the most delicious cookies I'd ever eaten. I went into the garage, and I did not leave for 2 days. I was so shook up. I was so just shook up. Like, what? How is that even possible? How is it possible? You see, so, I mean, I could go on and on about these coincidences that I've had in my life, but there's 2 of them. Here, look at this, 20 minutes. Now the video is twice as long. So this is part A, and I want to let you know a little bit about my life. And like I say, I'm 79 years old. I was born in 1946 in New York. My dad was an Air Force pilot who loved to play golf. And this is part A. Thank you.